It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
All right, SKOR North Twins Show, live extra innings episode here from Target Field, post-game where the Twins took another licking today. They fell to the Seattle Mariners by a score of 11-2. Just 7 hits for the Twins. Actually had a lot of chances early, couldn't convert on those chances. But the Twins lose big again. Having lost 14 of their last 17 games, and continues to be some pretty difficult baseball to watch from Target Field. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to discuss the report that came down from Dan Hayes, the Athletic, who covers the Twins, who reported that multiple sources have told him that the Twins are exercising Rocco Baldelli's 2026 option. So Rocco Baldelli will not only just remain the manager for this season, even though it's been a pretty rough year, his option is reportedly being picked up for 2026. Now, a lot of options and or contract details, I should say, in baseball are really not public information. So I'm assuming it was an option that was picked up by Derek Falvey and the Twins staff, and they decided that they want Rocco in charge and still being the manager beyond this season. Couple things on this, because at pregame I actually spoke to Falvey and talked to him about backing Rocco and where things stand right now. I mean, I see comments, I see the tweets, I understand every reason why. Where do you kind of stand with a manager that has kind of now seen 11 months of pretty brutal baseball? The Twins are now 37-41. If you remove a stretch in May from this year, they've legitimately been one of the worst teams in baseball, and they're playing like a team and building like a team, have built themselves like a team that was supposed to be competing for a Central Division title, and if not, at least a playoff spot. Not a team that was, like the White Sox or the Rockies that had no shot of ever being a playoff team. The Twins have made moves, pause with me here before I get farther, that indicated that they want to be a contender, that they believe in their pitching staff and Royce Lewis and Correa and Buxton staying healthy. Now, not all that is always lined up. We're looking at it right now, but that's what this team has believed in. And Falvey told me that he backs him and he doesn't want to make a decision where I'm not going to let 6 weeks or a 3-week stretch really dictate how I feel long-term about a guy. He has a great relationship with Rocco. They do converse and talk and obviously plan things together all the time. And they felt that Rocco Baldelli doesn't deserve to be fired for this year, and they want him to extend to be the manager beyond this year. So it is an interesting move. I guess a couple things on this, but I'd say this, that number one, from a human side of things, from a personal side of things, I've always enjoyed my interactions with Rocco Baldelli. I think he actually gets a lot of flack for things that aren't necessarily his fault. It's a manager. He's going to take the praise and the blame. That's how it works sometimes. But I think as a baseball mind, he's actually a very smart and intellectual guy that you don't really get to see those things in every pregame interview. You don't get to see those things on the bench. I'm in a position here where I have gotten to know him a lot, and I think he is 100% a guy that should be a manager and deserves to be a manager. However, when I'm looking at the whole thing of this, and of course you can go find my rant about this from today's SKOR North Twins Show, and by the way, we'll have another episode with Coach Trev as the lights turn off here outside of Target Field. We'll have a episode tomorrow with Trevor Plouffe on a Plouffe Tuesday to discuss this move more, because obviously it's a pretty important one. When I'm looking at kind of everything here, it just, a fan base sometimes needs and wants change, and nor should an ownership or a baseball operations do things strictly for the fans. But if you're an organization looking to build back some trust and looking to build some excitement and looking to build momentum, I think extending a manager who at times has been on a hot seat and at times is the face of the criticism, again, rightfully so or not, is certainly a bold choice to make. And if you're looking at what happened those last 6 weeks, and you look at what happened in 2022, which was similar to that wasn't as long of a streak, but a team that was in the playoffs hunt when September rolled around, only to basically fall on their face and go under 500. Rocco will be entering this is his 7th year as a manager. Next year will be year 8. They have a few playoff appearances. All the playoff wins came in 2023, but 3-8 in the playoffs. He is now, let's see here. He has 494 wins, 454 losses. He's been an above 500 manager, but the Twins have decided that they like what they see from Rocco, and they don't want to change that. Where this probably becomes actually a bigger problem is in the event of a sale, which I don't think we're imminent on that, and I don't think that's close or around the corner from happening, is if new ownership comes in, they might want their own manager. Now, Derek Falvey's in a position where he's the president of baseball operations, he's the team president, he's overseeing all of this stuff, right? So I'm sure Derek has a say in that decision-making, and he should have a say in that decision-making. And obviously, all these align, right, where he would go to bat for someone like Rocco when the new ownership group takes over. But if an ownership group looks and audits and sees everything here, why would they just automatically back a manager like that? So, again, I think the timing of this is very strange. I don't think Rocco is necessarily the face and or not the face, because he unfortunately is the manager. I don't think Rocco is the reason that this team has just completely underperformed over the last 3 weeks and throughout the course of this season. But he was also someone that was on the hot seat. And when you're in sports and you're working in these type of roles, you are under pressure and scrutiny from things that are a little different from being an IT guy or some doofus with a microphone here that pretends to sling hot takes. Not even pretends. I do not pretend to sling hot takes. I give my hot takes, but you get the point. It's a lot different than your average Joe Schmo job. So the Twins have decided that Rocco should not be fired for this season and that he should remain intact for 2026. So, I did talk to Rocco. I asked if, does he have a comment on this type of stuff, which he doesn't. He's focused on making sure that this team is ready to play. And that's obviously the most important thing for him. So the contract stuff will take care of itself. But I do understand why Twins fans would be perplexed by this type of move. I think it's a little confusing myself. And I'm very excited to talk to Plouffe about this tomorrow, and with Mackie and Judd, who have takes. And I know Judd's writing the Substack, so there's a lot of stuff to get to on it tomorrow on a bigger episode. Plus, I did talk to Falvey about some other things around the organization. I'm not going to share that on tonight's episode. I'll share that on tomorrow's episode, just where things stand at the trade deadline, and maybe get into more of that stuff with Rocco. If you like this type of content, though, if you like breaking Twins news, whether it's manager-related, player-related, prospect-related, this is the SKOR North Twins Show. Hit the like button and subscribe button here for Minnesota Twins entertainment and content. My name is Declan Goff. I cover the team in a podcast role for the majority of the home games here at Target Field. So if this is content you enjoy, you can do us a solid by hitting the like button and the subscribe button here. Plus on Apple and Spotify, a 5-star rating and a positive review also goes a really long way. So looking at the comments here from the YouTube side of things, hey, Dukin says this team sucks and that sucks. Greg says Twins don't care about their fans. This organization's a joke. There's no accountability. Falvey and Rocco both need to go. This team is at a very low point, and I've watched them over for 50 years. Echoing Greg, what I kind of said today too, and I'm, you're 50. You've seen a little bit more than I have. I'm 32, going on 33, and this feels like the lowest morale has been. Look, there's Twins season ticket holders. There's Twins fans. I'm in a position here where I want to do this because I love baseball, and I grew up watching the Twins. So I understand where this is something I want to do, and if I didn't enjoy this, and if I didn't care about this team, I wouldn't be doing this. But I think if you asked your average Minnesotan where they stand where the Twins stand with the rest of the state of Minnesota sports, specifically the Vikings, Wolves, Wild, Gophers, the football teams had a big recruit today. Gopher basketball changed their head coach. The Minnesota Lynx and Minnesota Frost are winning championships, going to championships. I don't think the Twins are very high on that list. And if it's confusing to them, if they truly don't care about their fans' input, okay, that's their prerogative. And they're probably going to make completely rational or irrational decisions based on what the fans are thinking. But I do think if I were to have a beer or have a more of a open and sometimes honest conversation, which I am able to have with some of these people in power at times, not beers. But I would press them and I would ask, are you that surprised that people are this tuned out? Because this place was rocking in 2023 with the playoffs, and it was amazing. And it just felt like the legs have been cut underneath that from self-induced wounds from the last basically 18 months. So when I see these comments here from fans, I totally get it. Robbie B says, Dex, where does this rank in the most frustrated you have been with them? It's a good question, Robbie. I don't think it's like number one for me. There's a lot of things, times of the decisions they make that do make me more upset. I think in terms of the timing, it's definitely one of the more perplexing moves over the last, in terms of my frustration levels with this team, whether it's just from a credential standpoint or from a baseball fan standpoint. I would say the timing of this is very perplexing. I would agree with that. I don't know if it's like number one, but it's probably definitely obviously up there. So Alex says here on the YouTube comments section, my two biggest thing is with Rocco's, one, constant changing of lineups, and two, no accountability when it comes to fielding issues. So on the latter part, you're going to change up your lineup. Like, that's just going to happen, especially when you're losing like this. But I'll try to answer your no accountability when it comes to the fielding issues. Carlos Correa had a comment today pregame that the preparation is not where it needs to be, and the morale is maybe need a little spark, needs a little jump in the little hit in the arm there. And that's interesting. He kind of made those same comments last year, and he's someone that talks to Falvey and Rocco a lot. He's won a world championship, been to multiple World Series with Houston, kind of knows what it takes to win. I know at times, especially this year, he has been ineffective at the plate. But yeah, there are some things that have to be cleaned up fielding-wise, because Correa, who's been great at short defensively, Bader's been awesome in left. We see Buck at center. At times, I thought Royce Lewis was making some really significant strides here defensively. And Brooks Lee, I know yesterday was really ugly for him, does a lot of good things. I think the bigger problem is, and maybe I can spring this on Plouffe tomorrow, who actually played baseball. But with this team lacking a true identity, right? Like, they're not a big power hitting team. They don't do small ball well. They don't run the bases particularly well. They're not advantageous on the bases. There's nothing they're really good at. So if that's the case, why don't you lean into one of those skills? Why don't you become a small ball team? Because that's what happens in baseball. Eras change. Instead of being a power hitting team all the time, or be a power hitting team all the time. That's also fine. If you want to do that, then do that. Be the Bomba Squad again. The baseball is juice, but that's my whole point, is they don't do one thing particularly well. They're kind of average at a lot of different things. Pre-injury to Pablo and Zebi, this team's identity was pitching, 100%. But they lack a very true identity, and that is a problem. I'll do one more here before I jump off. And again, hit the like button and subscribe button. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me here late after a Twins loss on Monday evening. Robbie B says, Spencer, Spaceman Spiff says, problem is if we don't get those culture guys, those players like Lee can get into bad habits. And yeah, sometimes with baseball, the whole culture thing, I think sometimes we overstate that stuff, and some of that stuff has kind of gone away. I think some things, like, for good reason, like hazing, and then I think other things like accountability to what you're trying to say, then that's a problem that has to be addressed. And yeah, it's another thing. Like, I think Correa's a good leader. I think Buxton's a very quiet leader, but they don't have that Nelson Cruz type. They don't have a Michael Kadire. They lack that type of, savvy veteran at times that can kind of dig themselves out. Pablo Lopez is a very intellectual guy that I do know commands a lot of the respect of the pitchers in that room. But yeah, there's things that have to be cleaned up. But if you're just jumping in here, Twins lose today. I know Bailey Ober got robbed. Yeah, that was also really bad. Just a really bad inning, to be honest. He was solid outside of that. He got swings and misses, but a 6-run third inning where 9 guys came to the plate, that'll do it. And the Twins offense in the first 2 innings had 6 chances with runners in scoring position and couldn't cash in. So, yeah, Twins lose again here in another crooked number. They lose 11-2. Tomorrow they'll be back on the field, and they'll take on Seattle for Game 2 of this series. Got Chris Paddock will be on the mound for the Twins. So see if the Twins can figure out a way to get back on track here. But Rocco Baldelli, safe for 2025 and safe beyond this season. We'll talk to Trevor, Plouffe, and Mackey and Judd tomorrow more about this move. They're going to have some thoughts, but I wanted to jump on here and talk with you guys. This is the whole reason I do this, is when breaking news or when access happens, I want to share it with you guys. So if there's anything too you guys like to know more about, I'm all ears. Drop me a comment, DM me, SKOR North app. You can tweet at me. I'm at Dex's Tweets. I do look at a lot of that stuff. So if there's stuff you want to hear or learn more about, don't hesitate to reach out and hit the like button and subscribe in here on the SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel. This is the SKOR North Twins Show. We'll be talking at you soon.